Hi, everybody. Welcome to another blog chat.
Hello, people.
Tonight I have Tim with me, and my name's Matt. You guys probably know us. I don't need to say these things. So yeah, we got some fun things going on tonight. We didn't see you guys last week. You know, there's just a lot of stuff going on. We're working on the future. So, but we're back. We're here. Tonight we're going to go through one of our favorite things, which is what this live streaming generally is for. Not only to engage and to work with you guys and to say hello and all that, but to make sure that you are heard, to make sure that your questions are answered. So our latest blog post I said blog post in a really weird way, didn't I?
Yeah, it was
Our
good.
latest
Latest blog post.
our latest blog post was one of our series, 5 questions. So in this, we like to collect, and we want to encourage you guys as you see this, either now or in the future. If you have questions, send them our way. adventure@nationalparksatnight.com. You can reply to any of our emails. You can find the form on our website. We love questions. And we keep them, and every once in a while we publish a compendium of the most helpful questions and responses so you guys can see them. So we're going to jump right in. We had a question from somebody who said, which Coast is king? If you could only have one model of the Coast flashlights, what would it be? And this was Larry B.
Yeah, that's nice and large in that like that.
Yeah. Lance's response was the HP5R. What's your choice, Tim?
Well, I think if I absolutely had to choose one, I would probably choose the 5 as well, but I cannot imagine living without the HP7.
Same.
I find that what happens is when we put a bunch of filtration on it, to get it neutral in color, it knocks a fair amount of light out.
Yeah.
And so suddenly that very powerful HP7R, loses some of its power. And so it's, it becomes more usable when you need a dimmer light. But if you take the filter off, it reaches a really long distance too. But I think I'd have to go with Lance and say the HPR5. Yeah.
Huh, that's really interesting. I thought I had the HP7R. Like I have the green one. I love it.
Okay. Yep.
Green's a good color, but I mean, hey, they come in nice. Black is the classic photographer color, right?
It is.
So yeah, I like the HP7R. I like that extra punch,
Mm-hmm.
and I can always dim it down by cupping it with my hand.
Yes.
So I'd rather have more light. I guess I'm in the party of people that say when they buy a flash, they buy that extra double the watt seconds.
Yep.
Because they'd rather have it than not have it.
Yes. Yeah. And another good thing too is I think for people that are curious between the two, thinking about when do you like to photograph. So for example, I do some obviously shooting under new moon when it's very dim and your ISOs are higher, when the HPR or HP 5R is much better, but then when you're under a full moon, and you're doing star trails and things like that, then you need a little bit more light. And that's when the HP7 comes in handy. So, it's again, tough to live without either, but yeah.
I totally agree.
Yeah.
I totally agree. I was just preparing something in the background. Let's see if I flattened it or not. So the next question that we had, I mean, like the flashlights, I mean, you brought up a good point, and you had a great blog post about this, Tim, which was how to properly filter your Coast flashlight.
Yeah.
And for those of you who haven't seen that or read that, you should go check it out, because just adding a couple of filters to the front will neutralize it or put it to the warm spot where you might actually more enjoy correcting less in post.
Yeah, exactly. And that's real important when you're playing with the the white balance of the Milky Way or the white balance of a moonlit sky. So yeah, it's pretty crucial.
It is. I would say it's absolutely important, but I only have a CTO on mine. I haven't gone the extra step to put your perfect filtration on there yet. And I'm sure that I'll spend less time in post when I do that. Yeah. Oh, all right. So the second question that we had was regarding an image that I shot, and this was at Devil's Tower.
That is just the most awesome. I love that shot.
It was a follow-up to, like, when Chris and I teach workshops together, and it happens to be one of our birthdays, something special happens. When we were in Olympic National Park, Chris got the Northern Lights. We got the Aurora Borealis.
That's right.
Along with bioluminescent plankton and Milky Way core. That was a hell of a night.
Trifecta.
Yeah. And on my birthday, in the Devil's Tower, we got this, which was exactly what I wanted. It was, I think, the last photographing night of the workshop also. And boy, was I really happy. So the question was, there's a photo we made. How did you get the lightning in the shot? Did you just stack the exposures in Photoshop and then use a light and blend mode, or did you use a light detector to trigger the shots? Wow. So there's a lot to unpack there. I'm going to bring back my screen and address you guys directly. First up, when you are stacking lightning, there's absolutely no way to predict how often the strikes will happen. So to use a predictable interval doesn't make sense because it's unpredictable. So my favorite approach is to take the intervalometer and have the big bulb button on it, set the camera to bulb, and to set to use that button on the camera and then stop down, because you don't want the lightning to completely blow out the sky. So I'm usually around f8, and play with the ISO to that, to that effect. And I press down and I watch. And when I see a good flash, I let go and immediately hit the button again. And I watch, and I just keep doing that. And I might go a couple times, and sometimes I might let it go like for 2 flashes. But what I don't want is a preponderance of lightning that might not be the best shot ever. This is one of those situations where I like the fantasy better than the reality, because lightning is so hard to capture that pretending that you're just going to be so amazing that you'll get the perfect shot every time is an exercise in hubris. So I know I'm planning for post-processing when I'm shooting lightning. I'm going to say that strike was there, this strike was there, and they're all in separate images. And I'm going to take all those images, and just like I'm doing star trails, I'm going to select them all in Lightroom, the ones that I've found the right lightning strikes in. I'm going to say edit in Photoshop as layers. And then I'm going to find each lightning strike and paint it out as a layer mask and invert the layer mask. And then I have just that lightning. So that picture that you saw, I'm going to show you guys my Lightroom. Oh my gosh, I'm actually going to show what we have here. So this is that night. And I've got, oh gosh, look at that. We got our faces up in the corner. Get that out of the way. So we have a number of lightning strikes throughout the night. And we had just moved over to this last location because the storm was sort of chasing us around the Devil's Tower. And then you could see lots of different strikes in different places. And then there's a car trail coming across there. I didn't really want that in there. And then this is actually one shot. That's insane. This is an NEF. This is a raw file. And then there's this and this and this. And I took the ones with the most remarkable lightning, because I mean, there's moments like this where there's just a little bit coming down from the clouds. I mean, why wouldn't you want to include something like that? And I should have considered that, but especially the lightning coming out of the tower here. I mean, it's exciting to have this many options. I should just take this shot on the right and that shot on the left and make it a separate image just with those two, because it looks like the tower
that would be cool,
made of electricity. And then there's these other ones that sort of frame it out better. And this was the TIFF where I put all of the ones that I liked the most together. And it does look like Armageddon. And I was really happy with that. So if memory serves, I did about 8 images on that. Ooh, can we share that? I didn't say optimize for video, but I did take some time lapses too. I don't know if they're going to run through nicely, but every once in a while, I like to just put the camera on time lapse mode. And there was a moon bow over there too.
Huh.
Yeah. Yep. Good
Well,
stuff.
it looks like you're facing almost north there.
Yeah. Yeah. So that was fun. So that's the answer to that question. I'm glad that I could show you guys. Hi, Chris is here too. Can't hear him yet, but he's here.
Hey, Chris.
So,
Hi.
hi. I think we already covered your question about the coast. No, we didn't. All right.
That was Lance's.
That was Lance's. Whew. Good. All right. So that was the story with the Devil's Tower shot. The post-production was pretty simple. You find those strikes of lightning. I like the paint over and then reverse the mask because it's easier just to paint out something and then Command I just invert the mask and then you have only the thing you painted. Yeah. Yes, sir. Tim is raising his hand.
Hello, Matt.
Hi.
For the viewers out there that maybe have never shot lightning before, what about that histogram? Are you blowing that lightning out? What are you doing? How are you taking that exposure, man?
Aha. The histogram absolutely doesn't matter. This is a shoot for the highlights moment. That's a great question. You should submit that by email, adventure@nationalparksatnight.com. Yeah, if you have to, this is one instance where you absolutely want to retain the highlights. So take a couple of pictures and you're going to stop down and keep lowering your ISO and lose a lot of your foreground to favor the lightning in most cases. But, you might have a little bit of ambient light in some case and not in another case. This happened to be a very dark night and the clouds eat a lot of the ambient light. So be careful with that.
And so also when the lightning strikes, it's also creating some ambient light throughout those clouds. And so did you take your first shot for some lightning and see where it was and then open and close down to go from there?
For sure. We were chasing the lightning around the tower for a while. I'm going to look at my exposure settings now. ISO 200 at f8. That's what I ended up at. It's ISO 200 and f8. So not your typical night photography settings for such a short exposure, but this is completely and explicitly only for the highlights. And if you're safe, take a longer exposure for the foreground, because you'll notice that in those images, I had a lot of not Devil's Tower there. It was just the silhouette. Lucky for me, it is so recognizable that most people can infer what it is just by seeing it.
Thank you.
Good question. So we have another question here, and this was yours, Tim. I'm going to put it on screen, and I'll let you talk your way through it. And custom menu.
Yeah. So could you elaborate on which menu options you include in the custom menu? This to me is really kind of important, only because, and especially for people that are somewhat new to working at night with their camera, or even somebody that's been working, for quite some time. But it's just so painful for me to go through these countless menu systems that are so common on the new digital cameras. It's like you can look for that one thing and you can spend 5 minutes looking for it. And it's just such an incredible waste of time. So I listed out a few things here that I put into my custom menu. And those are things that if I just click on the back of my camera and go to my custom menu, they're all right there. And there's the ones I use for night photography and also the ones I use for daytime photography. So they're all in there. But things like, long exposure noise reduction, you may be changing that back and forth, throughout the evening. Same thing with monitor brightness. The first time you go out and you're looking at that image and it looks super bright and you realize, I forgot to turn down my monitor to help my, night adjusted vision see the image as it actually is, and the same thing with the viewfinder brightness, especially on the, that comes into play when you're with the new mirrorless cameras. Mm-hmm. So, and Chris has got some stuff in here too.
Yeah. We were trying to make the point that, just because that's what Tim uses, that's not what everybody needs to use, right? Because this has more to do with what settings do you need to access the most? And Tim made the point too about how There might be a setting that's easy to access on one camera, but not easy to access on another. So the point is everybody kind of has their own custom menu, which is why it's called a custom menu, right? So these are the things that I put in my custom menu, and virtual horizons right on the top, because I check that on, almost every setup I do. And then same with exposure delay mode. I don't use it all the time, but when I use it, I want to be able to access it quickly.
Brilliant. Brilliant. I love it.
Yeah, I think it's super important for people to set those up on their individual cameras. It's going to make your nighttime work much easier, folks.
Yeah.
I think I put too many in mine. I think I have like 14 items in there. It's not really a quick menu anymore.
You need a custom menu for your custom menu.
I need folders in my custom menu. All right. Next up. So we have the elephant book in the room. Let's see. This was a Gabe thing. Who wants to speak for Gabe?
Well, this goes back to the blog post we did. Was it almost a couple months ago now? Where we were sharing. Tim wrote about not necessarily his favorite night photography books. He was very careful about how he phrased it. Just
Lance.
Lance, what did I say? Tim.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. So Lance was writing about the books that a night photographer should own, right? And this was in coordination with this bookshelf page that we launched, which was kind of all of our favorite books on not just night photography, but photography as well. And Vince wrote in. Vince is one of our regular workshop attendees, and he wrote in about this book that he had come across on. It was like projecting elephants into scenery, and it all ties in with sort of elephant preservation. That's where the title comes from. 30 times a minute is the number of times that an elephant's heart beats. And yeah, so it was just this, really interesting take, just an interesting project, right? And that's what the monographs are all about, usually, right? Either somebody's legacy, their collective work, or some kind of an interesting project. And this definitely fell into the latter category. So we appreciated Vince writing in with this, and Gabe loved the book. I mean, he clicked on the link and just bought it. Which doesn't surprise me with Gabe, right? I'd expect that from either Gabe or Lance. I don't know about you guys. Do you guys?
I don't read, so I don't know.
Well, these are photo books, Tim.
Okay, yeah, they got pictures. I'm good.
Yeah.
I'm good with that.
Right. This is this is something where it's okay to say that you bought it for the pictures.
Oh wow, yeah, Vince is awesome. Thanks for that's a good share.
Yeah.
And if any of you want to submit books that you think we should consider, please do. adventure@nationalparksatnight.com or comment here on the video or in the live chat. We'd love to hear if we haven't seen it. We'd love to look at it. And then this beautiful picture.
Yeah, so this is we got a question about this image. I did this as a how I got the shot back in February, I think. And Matt, you and I both shot this, but from 90 degrees apart.
Yep.
And we had both, we both saw this in daylight. We were there, like 12 hours before we shot it. And you're the one who had the idea of doing a pano, and we both scouted locations and picked different spots to shoot it from. And so, Paul wrote in with this question, which was a good question about, I wrote about shooting this under a full moon, but could we have gotten it in a different moon phase? And he wanted to know if scouted it for a full moon in particular, and the answer was no. I think we talk a lot in workshops and on the blog, pretty much anything we write, about planning a photo and about using photo pills to be in the right, to figure out where to be at what time and all that. And, there's a lot of value to approaching photography in general that way, and especially night photography that way. But there's a lot of value in the opposite approach too, which is what we used when we were shooting this night. Like, we didn't have this idea of doing a pano under moonlight and going to Ubehebe Crater under a full moon. It was the other way around. Like, we were in a cool spot, and we said, we knew what the conditions were going to be, and we knew what we could do in those conditions. And that's a really important skill for a photographer to have too. I think of different photography techniques as different tools, and in your growth as a photographer, you learn how to use different tools, and you put those into your toolbox, and you know when to take them out and use them, right? So that was the approach in this case, where, so we've got a full moon, the landscape's going to be lit up in this beautiful spot, and we could shoot a pano here. That's what we could do with these conditions, right? So, I thought it was an interesting point. Could we have shot it in a different moon phase? Yeah, absolutely. In fact, I would love to take a crack at this same photo under a crescent moon, with the lights more delicate and get more stars, and maybe even a Milky Way in the background at the right time of year. But it was, this was a great approach for the conditions that we had that night.
And I was wondering where the heck you went. We got out of the car, and it was late. We had just come back from the racetrack playa, and we were a little bit tired because we walked a lot of miles. You walked more miles than the rest of us that night. But I was tired. I'm like, I'm gonna walk to the edge of the crater right near the car, because this is where I saw it before, and you just disappeared. And I was done pretty quick.
Yeah.
And I was just like, and Lance and I were just sitting there going, I wonder where Chris is.
He's done that to me before too.
And then I saw his little green blinking light way off to the left, hanging off of his tripod. So I'm sure you have the GPS for this too.
Yeah, probably. But that shoot was definitely a case of, we were tired, but we had this idea, and we were in the place to do it, and all the conditions were right to do exactly what we had scouted. And it was too cool an idea to pass up just because we were tired, right? True. So, you pulled up, you were driving, parked the Jeep, and I just took off. I mean, really what I wanted to do was fall asleep. Like, I wanted to just sleep for the rest of that drive back to the hotel. But I was like, no, I'm going to regret it if I don't do this photo. And that was my mindset. So yeah, sorry, I didn't let you know that my spot was a quarter mile away.
Doesn't matter.
I just got out of the car and was like, let me just do this while I can stay awake.
If I had known what you saw from over there, I might have joined you, and then we wouldn't have two different pictures.
Yeah.
I love the point of view that you chose. That was fantastic.
Yeah. And yours came out great too. And it goes, we've never done this blog post. That's one of the ideas that's written down. But we talk about it all the time, about how we love that we can be in the same place at the same time with the same gear and have two completely different visions of what the photo is going to look like.
And it happens all the time.
Yeah. Yeah.
Tim
it blows me away. Huh?
Tim would have shot it from the bottom.
Yeah, we'd still be waiting for him to come back up.
Yeah, it is a hike.
That hike is type 2 fun. Yeah.
Explain that for our audience.
So type 2 fun is something that wasn't fun when you were doing it. It's just fun to look back on. It's fun to say you did it. And that I've been to the bottom of Ubi crater. It's more than 600 feet down. And you'd get down to the bottom in 4 minutes, no problem. And then it takes a lot longer to come back up, because it's 2 steps forward and 1 step back the whole time. It's not crazy steep, but it's steep enough. And you just keep sliding back because it's all that loose volcanic gravel. But it's worth it. It's really cool going down there. Not just from a photographic standpoint, but just from it's just a cool factor. Like we always talk about being in the national parks and how you've got to appreciate the experience, and that's a good example. Like, you go down to the bottom of that crater and you look up around you, and you really get this sense for how powerful geothermics can be to have lifted that entire mass of earth away from that spot. You really get a sense of that down at the bottom. So anybody who ever goes there, if you feel up for it, definitely take that walk down.
Hadley asked in the chat, wouldn't it be tough to shoot Ubi under no moon? Just a black hole. Any suggestions on how to approach it?
Yeah, it would. In fact, I would, I'd say you've got to get there in twilight, and do a foreground shot. One thing I've I've always been interested in shooting at UBHEB, and I haven't done yet. I might have even mentioned it to you the day we were there, is to do a long exposure and walk the rim with a flashlight.
I was just about to suggest that.
Oh, that's a good idea.
Yeah. So I would do one or two or both of those approaches, because light painting the inside of it, I think, would be too big a chore for. Yeah,
I don't know.
Matt, I can see the wheels are spinning. You're figuring out how to do it.
All it is a walk back up. You got to commit to that.
Yeah. Oh, there you go too. You could do flashlight trail and walking down and back.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah. This is why the HP 7R would be better than the HP 5R.
Yeah,
that's right.
That what's that HP 14?
Right.
Or
The plunger.
Yeah, that Canon flashlight.
This big. Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
Next trip, group project. We're gonna light
trip.
paint UBHEB crater.
That'd be fun. That'd be fun. We get everybody to come back for one workshop, and we get everybody standing on the rim.
Yeah.
The flashlights up.
Oh boy.
That'd be fun. Or you could have one person just stop and do that a whole bunch of times.
I was just thinking about that for our Bryce workshop too. Remember some of those canyons that we walked down?
Yeah.
Had we had that kind of coordination?
Yeah. Had we. I mean, we were just battling all of the trail closures. So
Yeah.
Oy. Well, this is the good time to add a question in the chat, because we've come to the end of the 5 questions, folks. Hadley asked 1. If you ask something, then your question could be answered. Otherwise, we're going to go finish up our dessert.
Well, before we do that, we should just give one final farewell to Comet NEOWISE.
Oh, do you want to do that?
Yeah, I think we should.
You want to go through it?
Yeah. Let's go through it quick, because that's that's gone, and none of us are ever going to see it again.
What do you mean it's gone? I was going to go shoot it tonight.
You should.
Good luck.
Gosh,
you got to wait 6,800 years, Tim, and then you can shoot it.
Okay.
A cryogenic facility just opened up in Catskill. I'll ask them if they could work with you on this.
Yeah, I actually saw some people up on the Blue Ridge Parkway a few nights ago, and they were still shooting it, but they were shooting it with telescopes.
Mm-hmm.
They were doing some really serious stacking and everything to get it. It's still there. I don't think you'd see it with the naked eye now.
It's on the horizon, right? Is that where?
I think it was supposed to be getting higher, and but I'm not sure. I stopped tracking it about a week ago, because once the moon showed up, there really wasn't any chance of seeing it or shooting it unless you were working with really specialized astrophotography equipment, not astro landscape equipment, astrophotography equipment. This was, I don't know. I mean, hats off to the Comet, right? I mean, because we were, I don't know. I mean, there was a lot of excitement about it. And I think that we would have been excited about this kind of thing in a normal time. But the fact that this came when it did, when, everybody's been having this cabin fever, and photographers not traveling and getting to shoot. And it was kind of like right in the summer, right when people are starting to get outside again. And here was this amazing thing that any of us could just go outside and see and photograph. And it was really a gift, it was really special. I remember, so we were, when it showed up, we were running the back-to-back workshops in Maine, and we were shooting at Jordan Pond. It was during the second week, during the second workshop, we're shooting at Jordan Pond in Acadia. And it was mostly just our group. There were a couple of other photographers there shooting. But then what I'll always remember, this again goes back to the idea of enjoying the experience, right? These 3 people came, they were from Jersey City. I found out later, and I could kind of hear them coming down the hill. And they were just kind of checking out the dark, they were in the park in the dark. And I had sort of headed them off like 15 feet before they got there because they had flashlights and a few of us were set up. And, I said, hey, can you just turn down the light? We're shooting. And they're like, oh, that's great. That's great. Okay. And they said, what are you shooting? And I was like, well, there's the comet right over the ridge. And they looked up and it just blew them away. It was pretty much within 15 minutes of Lance doing this photo. And it was just so, I don't know, it was just so inspiring to see how much it meant to them that they had this surprise. They didn't know it was going to be there.
Wow.
It was just really special. Like one of them had a point and shoot camera that they set up to try to just get some photo of it, which they did because it was apparent enough in the sky to be able to do that. And they were excited. Our attendees were excited. Lance and I were excited. It was just so much fun chasing that. I look forward, you don't know if you're ever going to get a chance like that again. Certainly not with this comet. Fingers crossed we'll get another one during our careers, during our lifetime, and hopefully on a workshop. But it was really just a gift. It was a gift. Yeah.
Truth.
Yeah. So Tim, you didn't shoot it, right?
I didn't. No. It was just a series of misfortunes. The nights I could have done it, it was cloudy, and then when I wasn't able to do it, we had clear skies, and it just didn't work out at all.
That's too bad. But Matt, you got to shoot it.
I did. I got to shoot it one night on the night of the new moon, and it was like Tim. I had either just terrible circumstances where I was too exhausted from working too hard or whatever life, and just like couldn't make it out that night. Or the nights where I was like, I'm full of energy. It was raining. Or it was just clouds at the horizon right where it was because it started low and then started to get higher. So every time I'd go, I'd be like, I'm not going to see it because there's only clouds at the horizon. Everything else is clear. So I did get that one night. I threw my stuff in the car and I headed out deeper into the Catskill Mountains overlooking the Hudson Valley. And I got a perfect night. I spent about 2-3 hours with the Comet. It was great.
Did you shoot with with a tracker?
I wish I did. I kicked myself. I was halfway there because I didn't know if I was going to find a good spot.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't put it in the bag. And I was halfway there. I'm like, oh, there's this pullout that I've been thinking about shooting at. And when I got there, I'm like, I could have shot with that too, but I didn't. So. And I went out with the tracker a couple of other nights after that. And it was, again, clouds.
I did get to shoot it with the tracker. Nothing that I was really excited about, but I had the move shoot move tracker with me. I'd show you. Let me grab the screen for a second.
I need to make you need to more than a participant.
But let me see.
There you go. You got it.
Okay.
You now have.
Actually, it's on the blog post, right? No. That was a stacked image I put in the blog post. Okay, let me see. Let me see how quickly I can find this. So one of these photos here is with the tracker. So that one looks terrible. But
I keep double clicking on it like I can make it bigger.
Yeah. But this one was with, See, we should have planned this out. It would have been better.
Well, I could show my pictures while you find yours.
Yeah, go ahead.
How's that? All right. I went there with the express purpose of shooting through all of my lenses and seeing what I could do with different shutter speeds and stuff. So wait a second. This one, it's funny. I had all of them marked as stars. I started out with my 15 millimeter lens, and that's out here. So I have the 15 after. There we go. There's not a good version of it. Hey, look at that. So the 15, the Comet had, a good proportion of showing in here. And I liked it, but I was like, it's not an intimate enough a portrait of it. So then I was like, all right, well, I'm going to shoot through the rest of my images, my lenses And then I moved on to, I think, my 50 millimeter, and then I had a little bit better time with this one. And then I was like, I think I must have dropped my 50 or something, because it never had coma like this before. Look at that. It's like a perfect
Whoa.
dove down there, you know?
Yeah,
Like,
really.
look at those birds, man.
Little hawks.
I know, like that is got to be. Oh, look, I think I got some sort of celestial object there. Anyway, I had terrible coma, but I ended up liking what happened here, and then I started noticing how terrible, how rampant the light pollution is. So I guess Albany's not that far away. So I did a sequence also where I shot 20 images and I star stacked. So this is the 20 image stack, and that's the single image right there. Lots of background noise, a lot less background noise.
Mm-hmm.
So the quality difference between them is apparent. You can especially see it in the trail of the comet. If you look in there, you'll see there's noise there. And in the stacked image, it's just creamy, smooth.
Like butter.
Like butter. So I did this for every single lens that I shot through. I had the 100 millimeter macro lens that I got, nice flat field lens from Laowa. And this one, yeah, I mean, that was, I forget which ISO this was, but it was crispy, and I was shooting NPF the whole night just because I wanted the stars to be crispy sharp. And let's see what we had. 6,403 seconds on that one. And let's see what we have. So this one is a stacked version of that, or star stacked, and it's just way, way better. Crazy color shift, but you know,
yeah.
Let me just compare those two real quick. The difference between the star stack and the non-star stack is kind of ridiculous.
Yeah.
To be expected, but ridiculous, you know. So I did that for all of them, and I really enjoyed it. And I finally got to the 200 millimeter, and the 200 millimeter was extraordinary. And I had two different versions of processing the 200 millimeter with a Starry Landscape stacker. And I'll just put those side by side for you guys. And the minimum horizon value and max value had dramatically different results in the background color. These are the same photograph, but the max value I didn't like because it had moiré.
Wow.
So discovered something there. I don't know why it created moiré. Beats me. But and now that I look at it, I see that it's there just mildly in the other one. It's just a mild case of moiré, and there it is right in there. But anyway, the 200 millimeter, I filled the frame with the Comet. That's fun. It's great as an exercise. But, you know, it's not astro landscape photography, you know. This is, you know. So I at the end of the night, I was shooting a pano, and I pulled the 15 out again, and I got the Comet closer to the horizon. So its tail was longer, but then I got the Milky Way creeping through in the other corner. And I liked that. And that was after seeing this. And I was like, wow, that's a good galactic core. So my pano was kind of crazy. I did what I never do, and I tilted way back. So I just have a sliver on the bottom, and I usually shoot panos dead level. And it stitched. I didn't expect it to stitch. I did like 50% overlap, and it still stitched. So I ended up getting the Comet bending in the same direction as the Milky Way. And I'm very pleased with this. Yeah,
it came out cool.
Yeah, it did.
And this would be the first pano that I've made in Catskill. I know. Why don't we shoot at home more often?
All right. So I was able to find the shot I did with the move, shoot, move. And here it is. So you can see like the two photos. So first so this allowed me to shoot at ISO 200, right? So I did two frames, one with a sharp foreground, and this is Monhegan Island. This is just a village. I haven't processed this shot yet because what I was hoping for, we were just slightly off in the scouting. We wanted to get the Comet over the center of the village, and it just it wasn't where we wanted it to be early enough to do the photo that we wanted. But I still wanted to shoot something anyway. So here you can see this is a 2-minute exposure at ISO 200, keeping the foreground sharp. And then this is the frame shot with the move, shoot, move. So now the foreground is blurred, right? Because the tracker is moving the camera during the exposure, but the stars and the comet are nice and sharp with no noise because I'm shooting at ISO 200. So that was a lot of fun to use. I look forward to using that even more. I used it for a couple of other different photos up in Acadia a couple of days later. But this was a good application of it for sure.
That's awesome.
Wow. 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 There's did you want to show any of the other, you want me to show some of the pictures from the blog post since you guys
I think
such a successful
I think we
workshop?
should, yeah.
Great.
Yeah. And then, you had, I guess you've already shown your photos that were in there, right?
I did. Yeah.
Yeah. Gabe tried to shoot the 2 nights before this post came out, and he got socked in first by clouds and then by moonlight. Yeah, so he didn't get to shoot it, unfortunately. But this was Lance's photo. This was at the Monhegan Island Lighthouse, which is such a cool place to shoot. It's one of my favorite lighthouses I've ever shot because there's like a campus there almost. I mean, there's multiple buildings. And there's this old whaling boat and all this. So there's so much more there to shoot than just than just the tower. And the Comet sure added something to the collection of stuff to shoot. I'll
say.
Yeah. And then, there you can see the whaling boat. So this is really similar to, Lance was really attracted to this scene because it's similar to the photo that he used on the cover of the first edition of his book, Night Photography and Light Painting, Finding Your Way in the Dark. Actually, the first one, I think it was just Night Photography, kind of focus on shooting with film and all that. And so he saw the whaling boat, and he had to do like half a dozen compositions with it over the course of 3 different nights that we were up there. And then this one, with the Comet, it just, brings another element. This photo is a really good example of something we've talked about the last couple of weeks where, like, just having the Comet in the frame doesn't necessarily make it a good photo. You want a good photo that you can add the Comet to make it better. And if you were to put your thumb over the Comet here and take it out of the composition, it's still a good shot, right? And then the Comet just adds a lot of extra zing to it.
Chris, I think that's a really important point. And I think it goes through a lot of our night photography. We could say that very same thing.
Yeah.
Truly.
And then this just came out great.
That's lovely.
Yeah, this is Lance's photo. I was there when he was shooting this. I was working on a pano, and he was doing this. And I remember him saying that he was ripping a 5-minute exposure, and I didn't know exactly what he was up to because 5 minutes is too long for to freeze the comet and the stars, and but of course Lance always knows what he's doing. So. And this is what he was doing. He was shooting 5 minutes for the foreground. And so this is a blended image. This is up at Jordan Pond in Acadia, which we had thought about this for a Comet shot a few days before getting there, just trying to think of spots in the park where you have a northwest view with a clean horizon. There's not a lot of them, but Jordan Pond, you do get that. And the only question was whether the Comet was going to be high enough in the sky to clear the ridge to the left. Lance and I went and scouted it with Sky Guide earlier in the day. We saw that it would be high enough. And this is, I actually have a photo of Lance scouting the scene. And this is exactly the photo that he was scouting when we were there. And it just came out perfect. This is the danger of shooting with Lance is, you go out shooting and you feel good about what you got, and then you see his stuff.
That's happened to me.
Yeah. It's like I saw this and I didn't even want to edit my photos anymore.
Well, let's look at your photos. Wait, where are they? There they are.
So this is up at Monhegan. This was, this photo is a good memory for me because Lance and I got to Monhegan 2 nights before the second workshop started. So the first workshop was in a different part of the coast. It was the mid-coast region of Maine. And the second workshop was half on Monhegan Island and half in Acadia. And Lance and I had never been to Monhegan. The only reason we could do this workshop was because Jeff McCrum, one of the friends of, National Parks at Night, I think we're all friends with him. He has spent, like 16 years. He goes out every summer and he does night photography there every summer. And he helped us out. He was our local guide. So Lance and I got out there 2 nights early just so we'd have a chance to see these places for ourselves and to shoot there. And the first night we were there, we went up to the lighthouse and the skies were cloudy. In fact, not just cloudy, foggy, which is why we were at the lighthouse, because we wanted to get the beams. We had atmosphere in the sky, so we wanted to get the beams. And that's why we went up there. We were shooting stuff. That's when we found the whaling boat that Lance was doing his first exposures of. And I just turned at one point. Like, I was kind of facing northeast, and I just turned and noticed that the sky had cleared to the northwest. And I just kind of looked and I was like, the comet's there. I was like, Lance, the comet, So both of us just abandoned the photos that we were in the middle of and started shooting the comet instead. And it was just a really nice memory. It was exciting. It was just the two of us shooting. And this is, this is the photo that I did. Lance did. Actually, I don't think I've seen the photo that he did from this angle. He ended up liking the boat angle better. But it was, it was just, I love the memory. I don't know, I think you've heard me before. The photos that mean the most to me are the ones that have some kind of a story around them, and just being up there with Lance and having that surprise moment was a lot of fun.
Chris, did you flip this photograph horizontally?
No. Why do you ask?
Well, because I'm just looking at it, and I know you have to shoot to the northwest, and as far as I know, the view along the Maine coast looking south is with the ocean to your left.
Oh, well, this is because we're out on Monhegan Island.
Aha.
And we're up, the lighthouse is at the high point of the island in the middle. So you actually have 360-degree sky access up there, which was great because we could shoot the comet to the northwest, or we could shoot the Milky Way over the keeper's quarters to the south. There was,
my gosh,
I mean, that's what I said. There's so much versatility up there. That's what I was talking about. Is you just, I mean, I even shot a Milky Way pano over the keeper's quarters in the lighthouse, and the boats in that too. Yeah.
Nice. Oh, that's cool.
So this is from Monhegan again. This was actually the last photo that I shot on Monhegan. It was the same night that I tried the move, shoot, move over with the comet over the town. And the reason I abandoned that photo, I could have waited an hour and a half for the comet to be where I wanted, but we had this other spot up on the coast of the island scouted. And this is not the photo I had scouted. That was a coastal scene a little further up. But in walking to it at night, I saw this. And so I wanted to come back to it. And the surprise for me in this photo is in the window, you can, if you zoom in, you can actually see somebody sleeping on their pillow. And I didn't see that when I was shooting. I knew somebody was in there because I saw them earlier, but I didn't know that they were sleeping in there. And it was only from the long exposure that all that light built up, and you can zoom in and actually see their head on the pillow.
Whoa!
So I like that little surprise. And Matt, this is a stack too. So this was, I shot these images. I want to say at ISO 25,000.
That's amazing.
And stacked them to reduce the noise.
It's a combination of street photography and astrophotography.
Yeah,
it's so beautiful.
Thanks.
Wow.
And is that in black and white, or did you just pull a lot of color out of it?
No, I flipped this to black and white in Silver FX Pro. I saw this as a black and white image from the get-go because the light from the window is a completely different color temperature than the sky, which is a different color temperature than the horizon. That you get like the silhouette of the tree against the horizon there. That's light pollution from the mainland.
Right.
Which was pretty minimal to the naked eye, but it was there. And, so I'm working with 3 different color temperatures, and I'm red, green, colorblind to begin with. So throw 3 color temperatures at me and I'm just like, oh, this looks like a great black and white scene.
Yeah, it holds up really well in black and white.
Oh, totally.
So
and then this panel you're working on?
This is not the same one that I was working on next to Lance, but it was the same night. So I was up shore. This is more the classic scene from Jordan Pond, where you're shooting due north with the bubbles in the background. Now, I had the idea. I thought Jordan Pond would be a great spot to shoot, and I thought it would be good to get the Comet over the bubbles. And as it turned out, we were there just a few nights too late to get it right over the bubbles. So I was a little disappointed, and I couldn't come up with a composition to have the Comet and the bubbles in the scene at the same time until I thought of the pano. And then it was obvious, oh, that's what I need to do. So this was, I want to say it was 6 frames, I think. Yeah, so pretty straightforward, just night pano. This was level, Matt. I didn't have to tilt up, but you can even see I've got a little bit of the tail end of the Milky Way over on the right there.
Got it. Yeah. Wow.
And then this, this was just a portrait, Matt, like you did. I needed something like this. I just had so much fun shooting the Comet, and both from a photography and just a personal experience standpoint, it meant a lot. And so this was a stack that it was, I forget if it was 16 or 32 frames that I shot, again, I think at ISO 25,000, and then stacked them to get a low noise, a low noise version of the Comet.
Are you talking about Starry Landscape Stacker?
That's Mac only. So I was using Sequitur, which is the PC version.
Oh, Sequitur. Okay.
Yeah, does the exact same thing. So yeah.
Is that how you say it? Is it Sequitur or Sequitur?
I don't know. I've heard both. I'm going to do a blog post on it at some point, and I'll try to get an answer to that question before writing it.
Wow, we got some comments during that. Sandra's headed to Mesa Verde after the trailer tires repaired. Everybody should know.
Okay. All right. Sandra got to shoot some Comet with us the first week. She was on that first main workshop.
Oh, cool. Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah. In fact, I think she was the one who got the first real killer shot of it.
Not surprised.
She shot it over. We were trying to get it behind the Pemmickwood Point Lighthouse, and it was a little tough angle. And she had figured out that it looked better over the keeper's quarters. And we saw that image the next day, and it was like, oh, yes, that was the shot.
Yeah, she's clever like that.
Yeah.
Seth said he loved NEOWISE. Sue Wilson said Comet NEOWISE was great to see and get photos of.
Hi, Sue.
Eunice gave a thumbs up. And she also said, Tim, you can go down under the equator to go photograph it. So hop in your Jeep. Yeah.
New Zealand, here I come.
You ride your motorcycle down through the Panama Canal, go to South America.
Ooh.
Stephen Barnes said MSM. I think that's referring to the
Move, Shoot,
Star
Move.
Tracker. Move, shoot, move. Yep.
Mm-hmm.
And then Katrina said, all of your Comet photos are beautiful. Chris and Lance, your photos are goals.
Thanks, Katrina.
Ah, that's awesome.
And Sue said awesome. So thank you to all of you in the chat. We appreciate you.
Yeah. And thanks to everybody who shared their Comet photos on Facebook and in the comments I think there were a couple in the comments of the blog post. There's been so many people who showed their photos. We haven't gotten a comment on them all yet, but we definitely will. So thanks it was just great to see so much
Truly
beautiful work and diverse work, not just from our workshop alums, but their friends who saw it and posted their own stuff. And it was really nice to see all that. So thanks everybody for contributing and participating in that conversation.
We appreciate you. Well, that about wraps it up for the 2 blog posts that we're covering tonight.
Two for.
Do you guys have any parting thoughts?
Just waiting for the next comment, man.
Yes. Hopefully. Well, we do have the other elephant in the room, which is there's a meteor shower coming up
Oh, that's
soon.
right. Pursuits.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's should be a good one. We got 40% moon, and the peak is essentially stretching over 2 nights. So you can get it the 11th to the 12th and the 12th to the 13th, both expected to be about 45 meteors per hour. So lots of time. If it's cloudy the first night, get out there the second night. And you got until the moonrise is after midnight. So you got a good couple of hours of darkness to get out there and shoot that.
Keep your camera open to grab that moonrise, that low angled light coming across.
Yep.
You want it.
Yeah. And of course, we've got our ebook, right?
Right.
So if you need help shooting the meteor shower, just go to npan.co/meteors and download our ebook and all the information you need right there.
Yeah, that was a work of love, and you'll love our work.
That's hope.
Awesome.
I just made that up.
That was good. That's good.
Wow. So if it's cloudy, you'll see us here on BlogChat. But if it's not cloudy, we've been shooting the meteor shower.
That's right.
Yeah. I'm going to be on the Blue Ridge Parkway. Where are you guys going to be?
I haven't decided yet between Catskills and the Adirondacks.
Okay.
But I will be someplace because it is my favorite meteor shower of the year.
I haven't yet decided, but I don't know. I'm just not in a position where I can get to a lot of good places. So I was thinking maybe Glacier or Yellowstone or Craters of the Moon or I don't know, maybe the Oregon coast or no, I'm just kidding. No, actually I was thinking maybe just locally, just going up just outside of town here and seeing.
Cool.
Go in park. I can't wait to see what you do. So we should, everybody, this is your challenge. Go find someplace safe to be. Practice your social distancing by applying night photography.
Yes, that's a great idea. That's a great idea.
So if you please, Chris was absolutely right. Grab that ebook if you want to bone up on what to do to prepare for this. Lots and lots of information that will help you think about it, plan for it, shoot it, and post-process it. It's all in there. So we want you to succeed. So download the ebook. npan.co/meteors.
Yes.
Right?
And if you can't remember the URL, just go to nationalparksatnight.com, and it's right up there at the top of the homepage. You'll see the cover. Just click on it, and you're good to go.
So we'll do that now.
Yep, right down there. There you go.
Great balls of fire. There you go. That's
Cool.
it. All right. Well, we really appreciate you guys joining us. We hope that you have a great time shooting the meteor shower. Thank you, Tim. Thank you, Chris. This was a really fun time just talking about the thing we love doing. And again, we'd appreciate if you are seeing us here for the first time. Hit that like button. Please subscribe if you want to see more of this. Hit the notifications if you want to know every time we go live and every time we publish a new video. We would love that. Otherwise, drop us some comments down below. We appreciate you, and we'll see you next time.
See y'all.
Bye.
Peace.